Hello everyone, this is TurnleBuzz here, and welcome back to another video. I said I was going to do this like a while ago. I'm finally doing it. A Blender tutorial. And, I do have this little setup thing over here. So whenever I click a button, like I just did there, it's going to show what I did. So I'm going to teach some basics on how to make things in Blender, and specifically I'll be using Five Nights at Freddy's models as an example. I know people think that game's kind of cringy right now, and I don't really care. I enjoy making these kinds of models, so I'm going to make videos on basically how to do them. Now this can be used for pretty much anything, just to give you basic skill on how to model in Blender. So first of all, one thing I want to do is I want to click on View, and I want to go to Perspective Ortho. And I want to do this just because it looks nicer. And when you go to click Front View over here, then it gives you an actual orthographic view. So, whereas if you're in Perspective, it gives you a perspective view as if you were actually looking at it. So this is like a realistic one, and orthographic is a accurate one. So realistic is basically if you're looking at it, it's going to show one side being farther than the other, even though they're exactly the same size. Just like how this shows they're exactly the same size. So that's what orthographic is, where it shows the exact accurate measurements. So one thing I usually do when I'm going to be modeling, if you watched my speed modeling, I like to get rid of this, and you can do that by clicking B if you saw what I did, which gets this thing where you can select all within a zone. Also, you can use C, which you use as a circle, and you can select things. X is your delete key. Well, unless you change it, it's my delete key. It should be for you guys because all this is stock. It's all from default. So I use a new method now, which is plane. But I'm only going to teach some basics. I do want to teach on how to make just basically just a bunch of basics. So this is going to be a basic tutorial video. I am going to be modeling several things in this that are maybe related to Five Nights at Freddy's or anything that I just find easy to make. So one thing you guys might see is that this is not where we want it to be. So we could move it here, but that's not going to get it there. We could try to do it as much as we can. It's going to be close, but it's not going to be completely there. What you can do is you can hold Alt or Option on a Mac. It's Option on a Mac, but it's Alt on Windows. And I believe it's G. Alt plus G. You will get it directly on center. So also, I'm just going to move this and kind of spread this out a bit. I usually do this when I'm modeling, and I'll kind of move this over here because this is where all the good stuff is. So one thing that I used to do, I'm just going to teach you guys prior to my models in Five Nights at Freddy's Redux 2. Well, prior to Five Nights at Freddy's beginning. Sorry for the cough there. But anyway, what we're going to want to do is we're going to go to this blue wrench. So it says Add Modifier. So we're going to click Add Modifier. And you're going to have all this stuff here, which we'll get to eventually. So I'm probably going to split this into each individual video. So yeah, we will first start off. You know, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this. I do want to just do a basics video, and then I'll further explain things. So I guess this is kind of being in the realm of advanced, but it's not really too much of a basics. It's more of an intermediate thing. So what I usually do is go to Subdivision Surface. That's what I used to. And now you can see the more you click on this, it's going to look more and more like a circle. So normally when I'm making these kind of models, I go for 2. And this is basically the key thing. So I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. And we are going to just kind of expand it there. And this is basically your key transformations tool. So this is for rotations. And if you hit Command Z, I think it's Control Z. Yeah, it's Control Z for Windows, but I just prefer Command Z. So I'm just going to go ahead and redo that. And this is your transformations, well, your translations tool. Stop clicking things, thank you. So yeah, that's translations. So now that we have this, we're going to do something called edit mode. So right now we're in object mode. You can click here, which will show you all the different types of modes. We're going to specifically talk about edit mode, because the rest of this is a bunch of things that we don't need to do right now. So because we're doing basic intermediate, we're going to just stick to the edit mode, object mode, and sculpt mode. So we're going to start off with edit mode. So what you can do is that, or you can hit tab to switch in between. So we're going to go to edit mode. Now you may see this is going to seem a little bit intimidating. Well, that's what I first thought of it anyway when I first used it. Now you see all these little dots. These are vertices. So you have different types of things here. You have your vertices, well, your vertexes, vertices, plural, not really vertexes. I said that completely wrong. Your verts or your vertices. So this is line or the edge. Basically, these individual lines of the shape, which are basically two vertices. And then you have the face or the surface for all four of the vertices. That's what basically a plane is. So I usually go into vertices, but sometimes I will use face. So I'm going to go to, not the back, I'm going to go to the front, and I'm going to use C. I'm just going to select this right here, and I'm going to go to the right view. I'm going to pull this out a bit, and I want to bring it down. And as you can see, this is how you're going to deform the shape. Now if you click E in edit mode, and you click again, then you have extruded it. And what we can do now is if we go to a front view, we can kind of shrink this a little bit. On a top view, and you can kind of see that we're beginning to form something that could resemble a head. So I'm just going to go ahead and select this under here, go to front, and I'm just going to kind of bring this down. So now we have the basic shape where all my FNR models begin. So yeah, this is the beginning shape of an FNR model. So usually over here you want to kind of lower this a bit. I'm using the wrong thing. Also, one thing you may see me using is A. And A, basically it'll select all of them, but if you already have some selected, then it will do that. So we're just going to keep extruding. And this will probably be the last extrusion we do. So here we are, last extrusion. We're just going to kind of smoothen out the sides. Now one thing we want to do is, this part looks a bit small, so I'm going to go to right view, and if you click Z, then you can go into wireframe view, and these are different things. These are different types of things. You can go to texture. I can go to material, which if you have a light, let's say I make a sun, then it will show the textures as well as the color of the shape along with the lighting. Actually, that's really cool. There's also rendered view, which will show you what the outcome will look like when you render everything. But for now, we're going to stick with wireframe. So if we go into edit mode, if we click this, you'll notice that all of them are selected, and this can be really handy because it'll allow you to select all vertices or surfaces or whatever you're trying to select all in one go from that general area. So now we can kind of pull it down a bit. And also one helpful tool in edit mode is this magnet thing, which what this does is it will snap it automatically. So say you have this, you can just automatically snap it onto a certain grid line, which is really helpful with how I make models now. So if you hit Z again, then you can switch them. So here is the basic head. I would not advise using this method, but I'm going to do a method that I actually did not used to do. I used to do a different method. I would use Boolean. And I use Boolean now with holes. But I'm just going to get rid of these. If you click X, then it will delete the entire thing. And I'm just going to select these two vertices. Just going to kind of I'm just going to try to kind of make a rounder ear shape. And I'm going to go select this bottom group of vertices. That probably could have been done in a much faster way. I'm just going to kind of make it look a bit smoother. So now we have this. So what I'm going to go down, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go do Subdivision Surface again, and I'm going to make it look smooth. I'm just going to go for this. So we're going to click, actually what I could have done is when you have a modifier like this and you go into edit mode, you can edit them in edit mode. So it's not going to show you the final, it's going to show you the final outcome, but it's not completely selected yet. So you can go in and you can tweak any of these things to help you get the desired effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make this head look a bit more flat. Just going to raise this up a bit. Just going to raise this up. So now we have something that seems more like a head. I'm going to go ahead and apply that. And now we're going to click Solidify. So Solidify is going to do this. Now, as you saw earlier, it was flat, and now it's got a thickness. So I'm just going to, I usually go for about roughly this thickness. It doesn't really matter. So now that we have that, we can click Tool and we can click Smooth, which is going to give it this smooth look. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to use Boolean, and this is a method that I used to use for making the eye sockets. So we're going to go ahead and add a UV sphere, and we're going to go ahead, we're going to make that a smooth, just make things easier on us. We're going to click right Z, just so we can see the wireframe of it. We're just going to make it sideways so you have the circle facing forward. I'm going to add a texture to this. So this is material, I believe. Yeah, material. And then once you click add material, you can give it this cool color. I'm just going to give it blue, and I'm going to give this one, let's give it a green. We're not trying to make this look too good. Well, I'm not trying to make this look too good. You guys can do whatever you want. Yeah. If you click this little white circle, it'll just let you free move it. So, just going to put that roughly there. And I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So now that I've added that, we're going to go on top view. Okay, I'm just gonna drag that to the side a little. Okay, so now that we have those blue spheres in place, it might be helpful to drag them back a little bit. I'm gonna click here, and now I'm gonna show you Boolean. So when you add a modifier and click Boolean, this may not always work. So you're gonna click Operation Change Intersect to Difference, and then you're gonna click this little eyedropper and select it. So now what you can do is you can see that the vertices and faces started to change. So now if I click apply and I delete this, there is now an eye socket. So sometimes it doesn't always want to cooperate. So when you click difference, and if it does not work, then you would click, instead of difference, you would just change it back to intersect. Now, did this work? No. See how that did not work? Now let's try. Oh wait, crap. I messed that up. Intersect. Okay, so I think that was actually an error on my part. Okay, so sorry, not intersect. We're gonna change it to union. Come on. Trying to prove a point here. Well, anyway, now you see what I mean by it's not cooperating. So I'm just gonna, yeah, it took 24 undos. Okay, so I'm actually gonna change that over here to difference. Just gonna get that done. If it doesn't work, try in maybe a different order. Yeah, see, it worked this time. It's sometimes just the order of how you do it. And also what you can do is, now that you have these vertices, you can go and change however you want the mouth to look like. So yeah, that's how you can use Boolean Subdivision Surface edit mode, and I did that all in this one simple model right here. So now let's say we want to give it a nose. So I'm going to make a nose. So I'm going to deform this cube right here. Look, option G, and I'm going to head over here and click this eye, which will make it invisible. So now I'm going to go into edit mode. I'm going to click this bottom face, and I'm going to shrink it. So I'm going to keep shrinking until I feel it's a good size. I might raise it a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and do that top. And raise this a little bit, just a small amount, because we want it to give a kind of a rounded top kind of finish. Okay, so we're just going to leave it, actually I'm just going to make it a little bit more like that. Okay. I'm not satisfied. Just move it up a little bit more. Okay, so now that we have that, I'm going to make it into a nose. So I meant to go into right view. Just gonna drag this on over here. Now let's make it a nose. I'm just gonna give it a black texture. It's kind of a dark texture, and I'm gonna change the specular to a dark. And I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna change this specular into a light green, which is basically the specular is the reflective light that it will emit. Well, not really emit, but the light that will reflect off of it. So if it's a green object, you might want a green reflection or a green specular, so that way when it reflects, it will reflect in a green light. So we're going to go over here. Actually, I'm going to place this. And we are going to Subdivision Surface. I'm going to go for 3. Now that it is a 3, smooth it out, and now we have a nose. So now I'm going to teach you a new thing that we can do, which is joining. So we have 2 objects here, but if you see the nose, we want it to stick, and if you move the head, it's not going to stick. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this, and we're going to actually click the nose, and we're going to hold shift and click, right click on the object, the head that we want to join together. And we're going to hold control and J. Control J. There we go. It needs to be in, the mouse needs to be here. So when you hit Control J, it will join the two objects. So now they are joined. If you go into edit mode, they are joined. They are fully joined. So now we have this. We have this animatronic. It looks pretty neato. But let's say now we want to give it a nice texture. A cool little thing. So I'm actually going to go and create a sun. So now this sun is going to give us lighting, and I'm actually going to switch into material view. I'm just going to kind of change the direction of this. I'm going to click duplicate, and I'm going to change the direction of this. So now we got light from every angle. Actually, I'm just going to raise it up a bit. Okay. Yay, tons of bright light. So now we can fully see it. Now what we want to do is we want to click on this, and we want to make sure it's on the green. And we want to give it a nice texture. We want to give it a 3D rigid texture. So this is image texture, if you want to add an image texture, but I'll get to that in a different video. Instead we're going to change image, and we're going to change it to, what should we give it? Let's give it a clouds, which is what I most normally use. We want to give it a hard texture. Let's give it a both so you can see that. Just kind of what it's going to look like. I'm going to click generated, and we're going to click cube. So it's going to map to that. Let's try run a crackle. No. Just find one that we're happy with. I think I like this one. So we're going to change it to this generated cube. And see this right here, we're going to turn off color. And we're going to click normal. So what normal is going to do is it's going to give it this texture. So I'm going to add another cloud texture to make it look even more cool. So we're going to change this to hard. Let's go for Voronoi Crackle. Voronoi Crackle. And change this to generated cube. Change that to normal as well. And what you can do is you can adjust the values. So if you want it to go inside the shape, you're going to do a negative. So now let's look at this. So we're in material, we're going to go to rendered view now. And here now we have the rendered view. Now I don't really like this, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And this is now the shape we have. Say you don't like it as hard, so you want to do soft. And now it's going to show a softer design. I'm going to go back into material. And I'm going to make this a little bit lower. Let's get rid of some of these. And now we should be able to see the shape a little bit better. Okay. So this is what I'm just gonna leave it at for a beginner to intermediate tutorial. So this is gonna be the first episode, and in the next episode, next video, I will be showing you how to make a animatronic head or just any object using planes instead of cubes. Since now that I've teaching you how to make things out of cubes, I will move on to planes very quickly and how to make some really good stuff from that. So leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It would really help me a lot. I just broke 200 subs I think a week or two ago, so yeah, that's really cool. And hoping that we can get this channel growing bigger, and there's a lot of this stuff I'm needing to edit out. because of several interruptions and several mess ups that I did in the video that I didn't really feel like having. So yeah. Thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. I want to do a FNaF Fan-game 3, but I'm not sure which will happen first, FNaF Fan-game 3 or another Blender tutorial. Bye-bye.